What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So all day today I have been waiting around trying to just get some information on what this meeting between the White House with President Biden and Vice President Harris and this group of 10 Senate Republicans was going to be about. Well, just a short while ago, we heard from this group of senators, and specifically we just heard from Senator Susan Collins. She had a very little bit of stuff to say. First, she said this was a very productive 2-hour meeting between President Biden, some staff, and also some advisors, and also Vice President Harris. The Republicans outlined the provisions that they proposed early on today, and this is also something that I'm going to cover at the end of this video. Just explain what is in this package, how much it is, and what you could potentially see. But in this meeting, President Biden explained in more depth the different areas of his $1.9 trillion stimulus package that needed to be flushed out a little bit, that needed a little bit more information. Susan Collins said that is what happened. Well, by the looks of things, and they didn't give many details as to what was really discussed. She was very basic information that she gave us. But what it sounded like when she was talking was that President Biden used a lot of this meeting, a lot of the time that he had with this group of Senate Republicans, he used a lot of this time to provide more details and outline his $1.9 trillion stimulus package. It didn't seem like really the Senate Republicans did all the talking, did all the kind of revealing what they have in their package, how we can move forward, why their package is better than his 1.9. It didn't seem like that at all. So she did say that there was a very good exchange of words. However, just the expressions that she used, her tone, watching the other group, the other 9 Senate Republicans, it just didn't seem like this was a great meeting. Nobody came closer in terms of negotiations. She said this, and she said that nobody thought this was going to be a meeting where a deal gets done. This was not that type of meeting. This was supposed to just be an exchange of views, and apparently that was all it was. The group of Senate Republicans, they presented their views and their package, and President Biden and Vice President Harris, they did the exact same thing as well. They listened, and then they presented their $1.9 trillion package, or gave a little bit more details. Based on what we're hearing, even President Biden does not know exactly what's going to be in his $1.9 trillion package and how exactly it's going to be laid out, because currently the bill is still being written. Susan Collins also said that they are all concerned about struggling families, about teetering businesses, and every single one of them wants to address the public health crisis that we all face. We need to get out of this pandemic. They know that. They all agree. But how do we do that? What is the best path forward? Right now, everybody has their own opinions, but it seems like nobody is really on board. So that's what is currently being discussed, is we have to get more people on board to ultimately pass a bipartisan stimulus package. Republicans did say that they have demonstrated time and time again that they can pass a bipartisan stimulus package. When Republicans had a little bit more power, when Republicans held the majority in the Senate, Mitch McConnell was the Senate Majority Leader, and former President Donald Trump was in office, they had a little bit more power. And they were saying that we've done this before. We've passed a bipartisan stimulus package, and we've done it 5 times. And there's no reason why this time cannot be another one of those. We should be able to provide 6 bipartisan stimulus packages if we do it correctly. Now, that was all that Susan Collins really had to say. Again, she didn't provide a lot of details. It was very clear that this was not a great meeting. So let's dive into what is actually in this $618 billion stimulus package that this group of Republicans proposed. And first, I just want to be 100% clear. I do not believe the $618 billion stimulus package will get passed. Absolutely 100% no, it's not going to pass. Do I think this has a potential to grow and get closer to that 1.9? Yes, I do. I think this could be the framework, and they are starting to put the framework together to ultimately pass a bipartisan stimulus package. The problem is they are still so far apart. President Biden says we need to be at 1.9. This group of Republicans say no, we need to be at 618 billion. If we are 1.3 billion dollars away, 1.3 trillion, big difference. We are not going to see a stimulus package that is going to be bipartisan. Democrats will just push the budget reconciliation down their throat and be like, this is what we're doing, get on board or you're going to be left behind. We've heard that before. This is essentially what we are seeing right now, is Democrats are all but assuring us it will be a budget reconciliation. As to what is going to be in there, that's currently unknown. Some are saying there might be pieces that President Biden wants that cannot be included in this because it is a budget reconciliation. Now, I have some stuff that I want to address because White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki, she had a bunch of stuff to say earlier today during the White House press briefing. First off, she said, I think the president believes we can, and that there is historic evidence that it is possible to take a number of paths, including through reconciliation and for the vote to be bipartisan. She added that President Biden is open to hearing concerns and ideas, and this is essentially what he was doing in this meeting with this group of 10 Republican senators. And she says he is always open to making this package stronger. Okay. He doesn't want to make it weaker. We've heard him say before, a direct quote is he does not want to cherry pick pieces out of this proposal just to make it cheaper for Republicans. He doesn't want to do that. Every single one of these pieces of legislation is important. That is why this is a $1.9 trillion stimulus package, and this needs to be the bill that they pass. But what she said after this was very telling, that President Biden is open to the idea of making this stimulus package smaller. However, we do not know how much smaller he is open to making this in order to get a bipartisan agreement. Jen Psaki said earlier today that the meeting today was an effort to engage on a bipartisan basis, and that is why he invited them to the White House today. But his view is that the size of the package needs to be commensurate to the dual crisis we are facing, and President Biden clearly thinks the package needs to be closer to what he proposed. So, if we break that down, she was very clear last week that we need a $1.9 trillion stimulus package. However, in this one, she says no, that President Biden, he wants to see a package. The package needs to be closer to what he proposed. She didn't say it had to be $1.9 trillion. She normally picks her words very carefully. In this quote, she does not. That is big, because that could mean we could see a huge shift from this. We could see Republicans start jumping on board. Okay, let's do a 1.2, 1.3, 1.5. Let's bring it down. We know Republicans will do this. This is their game. This is the game that they keep playing. So Democrats, they don't really have to play a game. They can win the game right now by just pushing through a budget reconciliation. However, that's not what President Biden wants to do. Now, I do not know exactly where President Biden stands on this, on a smaller stimulus package, as to how small he's willing to go. But I do know he is not willing to jump on board with a $618 billion stimulus package at this time, because Democrats do have all the power. Republicans should have proposed something closer to 1.5, and he might have jumped on this. Maybe not jumped quickly, but he would have used this as a better framework. Right now, let's address what is actually included in the $618 billion stimulus package, because I know a lot of people are wondering, what is actually going to be in there for the American people? Well, here is what is in there. We know there's $160 billion for vaccines. This is currently the only thing in this package that is the exact same as in the $1.9 trillion stimulus package. It's $160 billion for vaccines. That's testing, tracing, treatment, and additional PPE. We have $20 billion for schools, which is a huge decrease compared to the $1.9 trillion stimulus package. There's $132 billion in here for unemployment. Instead of $400 per week until September 30th, this is $300 per week until June 30th. So was that it extends, the current unemployment runs out on March 14th. So we got, was that March, April, May, June. So we got like 3.5 months of unemployment benefits. Remember when I said this is going to be something close to 10 weeks, possibly 12 weeks? That's essentially what we got. We got about 12, 14 weeks. So Republicans are not willing to give that much for unemployment. But here's what we do know. Many experts do say that the unemployment should drop drastically in this summer. It should drop drastically. So if that's the case, then they could be right going until June 30th. But as far as the $300 per week, Republicans or Democrats are going to be like, no, we'll agree to June 30th, but we want $400 per week. And maybe we'll just come back, sometime in, June, and we'll just pass another bill and extend unemployment. They have the option to do that. They can do that. And it will be very simple because they can do another budget reconciliation and get that thing slammed through as well. We also know there's $20 billion for childcare, $50 billion for small businesses. This includes additional PPP funding and also an EIDL loan funding as well. There's $12 billion for SNAP and $220 billion for stimulus checks. Here's how this works. The stimulus checks are broken down as follows. And again, I know a lot of people are going to be very upset. Again, don't be upset at me. I'm just trying to provide the news. I get it. I understand. This is frustrating. This is absolutely frustrating. But here's what we know. There will be $1,000 per filer and $1,000 for their spouse. So that's $1,000 plus the additional $600 that you have already hopefully received. So total will be $1,600. $400 less than the $2,000 that President Biden promised. What we are hearing is that Republicans are doing this so that they can now say, if this were to pass, that President Biden did not pass the stimulus checks that he promised. He lied. Is that who you want in office? So again, Democrats and Republicans are going back to their political games, and Republicans are going to try to do whatever they can now to hopefully get Democrats and the Biden administration to pass a bill that is much smaller, that doesn't do its job correctly, in order to throw that into the Americans' face and be like, hey, look it, the 2 years ago when we were trying to get things done, and again, this is 2 years down the road, so 2022, or actually 2023 now, but he can be like, look what happened. He didn't pass the bill that he promised. He didn't pass the $2,000 stimulus check. He only did an additional $1,000 plus $600 that President Trump did. So really all he did was provide half. And so again, it's more political games. But here's a big thing. We are going to see $500 for adult dependents and $500 for child dependents. Again, I do not think this bill, as it is currently written, is going to pass. But I think it's a proper framework. I think this could have potential to grow. It needs to at least double, but it has that potential. That is the reason why I want to give you the details of this so that we can kind of follow along as we move forward. Now, here's how it phases out. For individuals, the phase out starts at $40,000 and it cuts off at $50,000. So at $50,000, you make $50,001. You do not get anything for a stimulus check. For joint filers, it's $80,000 and it cuts off at $100,000. You make $100,001. You get absolutely nothing. It does not matter how many dependents you have. That is the cutoff, according to reports. Now, what I can tell you is that after this meeting, the looks on these Republicans' faces after this meeting was just one of almost relief that they were done with the meeting, not that they got anywhere. It seemed more like they were frustrated with the meeting, as opposed to they came out and like, we got somewhere. We made progress. Susan Collins said we made progress. However, the looks on their faces, the look on her face, the tone in her voice, I know it was cold, but just the tone in her voice when it started, when the meeting started, or the press conference started, It just seemed like they were defeated. So, what we know is the Biden administration is open to negotiations. We do not know how much he's willing to negotiate, how much he's willing to go down. I can also tell you that we don't have a bipartisan stimulus package at this point. We don't have it. We have two different packages. Well, actually one package that this group of 10 senators proposed. That is an actual package. We have that. We have that proposal. But we don't have anything from the Biden camp, the Biden administration. We don't have anything. They're still working on that. But President Biden is doing this because he wants to prove that bipartisanship can be reached and unity will prevail. That's what we're hearing. So, I wish I had better news for today. However, I don't. This is the best news that we're hearing. So, I promise as I learn more, I promise I'll come back and share more. I just wanted to provide this little update with you guys so that you guys can stay on top of what we are currently looking at, what we could potentially get, and where Republicans currently stand. Again, this is a group of 10 Republicans, 10 Senate Republicans. These are part of the Problem Solvers Caucus, or at least 8 of these people are. So what I can tell you is if we can get all 10 of these people on board with whatever stimulus package the Biden administration is going to propose, then we can get this done through an actual vote, not a budget reconciliation, because we need 60 votes, but we only have 50 Democrats. So we need 10 Republicans to jump on board. So that's what we know right now. Again, I just want to thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you guys on the next one.